Captain's Log Supplemental.
Hey Jeremy, you know those race cars you're busy building?
Yeah, I do. I
You,
got one
you
that I'm looking at every day.
you know what I don't see you working on?
You don't see me working on the amazing Sentinel system yet.
That's true. It would take all of 10 minutes for you to have one.
And it's very quick and easy to install.
It is. It is. And we could watch you when we are not at the race with you and see how you're doing. And then we can call you up when you get out of the car and tell you everything you did wrong.
And I love that because so many years I've been driving and not been able to see what I'm doing.
I know.
And now we can.
I know. You know what I'd like to do with the video? My most favorite thing is I take the video and I load it on YouTube and then I send it to my coach and say, look at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Look at this one lap and tell me what I can do better. And every single time, you know what they say?
Everything.
Exactly. Precisely. So with the Sentinel system, you get instantaneous feedback plus useful feedback that unfortunately is accurate for my driving.
I think it's accurate for all of our driving.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's probably true. Yep. But you need to get one in your car, sir.
Yes, I do. And with the discount code that you're going to tell everybody, they can save 10% on this awesome system.
Yep. Trouble free. I haven't had an issue getting video every time we've gone out with the Sentinel. It's always worked. Can't say the same for some of the other systems we've tried. So I don't know. It's on the podcast notes down there. Don't do it while you're driving, though. We like to have our listeners live. It's good.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes and Training Podcast. This one's going to be fun. I'm the host for this episode. My name is Bill. I'm all confused. It's a new year. I've got a bad intro. Anyway, who else is hosting?
I'm Vicki.
And I'm Audra.
You are. Ladies, we have two friends that we've met at the track. We have raced with one of them. Soon we will race with both of them. So, with that, from the brand new racing team, still to make their debut, but we're calling it Hero Racing Team right now. Ryan, Goodnight and Duckia Zhang, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So Ryan, you have run in the past with us, and you brought your wonderful family, and somehow they think that what they saw us do is a good thing. So I know we didn't perform at the level that makes them think, wow, that's amazing. So what did you tell them as lies that made them think that this was a good plan?
Well, first of all, I've been experienced with Garage Heroes a few times, and I've had a great time every time. So let's start with that.
Okay. I like to under promise and over deliver. So
through various, I've had some seat time in various cars. The trophy truck I've been in a couple of times has been an absolute blast. We talked about that on a previous episode, and then I even got a brief stint in the Civic, which was very fun when it was the Chrissy's Mom's Cookies theme, and that was great. It was so
when were
fun.
you in the Civic? Was it a Thompson?
So it was at New Jersey Motorsports 2023,
Oh, okay.
and the truck had broken down.
What?
Which
The
was
truck? No.
like very early on day one, the truck
Yes.
had broken down.
I remember.
And then a little bit of seat time opened up, in that Civic, and someone said, "Would you like to?" And I think before they finished that sentence, I said, "Yes, please."
Well, I believe the pained look on your face when you realized that the truck was dead and you had yet to drive. We were like, well, this just isn't going to happen. So we made sure you got in there. So
Yeah, and correct. And then, of course, the other experience that we had was at pit race with Audra and the Slippery Slope team. And that one, Duckia and the girls came out with us, and that was a great time. It was very cold and windy, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's very windy. It's like I don't know how everybody race in the wind.
well, it's
I
easy.
saw
Windows are down. The windows are down. It's fine.
okay. Yeah.
Our girls still talk about the Slippery Slope with like the little what's the snowman on the back? Anyway,
Oh, Olaf.
Olive?
Olaf,
Olive,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, they like it.
Now we have some great pictures of them on the back of the car. They were adorable.
They are.
Oh,
Yep. I was a little concerned towards the end of the day when the car was parked that they were going to figure out how to get the snowboard off and start going down the hill because I think that was the weekend, or it might have been the year after, where it snowed. It was crazy. That was so cold, but it's
Oh my
okay.
gosh. Yeah, I remember driving in the snow, going off the track in the snow.
Ugh.
So much fun.
Yes, it
So
was.
so you decided that you didn't want to just partake and come and play with others. You decided, hey, we're going to start our own team.
This is very much my MO. Like if I'm into something, usually there's not a lot of middle ground. So once there was sort of a foothold of, and I think we might have even told you, like I think I remember saying, Bill, like in passing, I walked by you and said, Bill, I'm obsessed. And you said,
Hmm.
oh yeah, you will be. And then like I slept on it and suddenly, Facebook Marketplace is kind of a dangerous place for me.
It is.
Um, and yeah, it was like not very long ago that I got this car. It was sort of billed as turnkey and ready to race.
Yeah. Right after I know what I've got. So no low balls. If it's out, don't
So,
call me. Yeah.
so it took a little convincing to get the wife in to agree, but she seemed to say yes, and then seemed to think that because it's in our driveway that she owns it.
Well, I mean, I hate to tell you, but you obviously did the same as I did and did not read the fine print, sir. Yes, yes, she does. Just avoid the bathtub. Just say yes. It's fine.
Just-
Fair enough.
Exactly. So what car do you own, Miss Duckia?
Uh, I have Audi Q7.
Oh, okay. That would be
Apparently
fun to
it's not for
race.
racing.
Oh, I mean, it,
But
it could be.
yeah, but my first car is Mazda 2, which is like a sporty car.
Uh-huh.
I would say the shape is more sporty than
Hmm.
the other series, the other model, which is Mazda 3 or Mazda 6.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I like that. I think it's pretty good car, but I think mostly is Ryan inspired me after he's done racing so many years and he joined different team and he shared his experience and he inspired me and also his friends. And I think after many years, he's done that. And I think that is the like true love and enthusiastic. Like not only you racing, yeah, you bring the spirit like to other people. And then I think it is more experience, like not only racing, but being a captain or being a team leader,
Hmm.
that you have to learn a lot of things and you have been experienced and also learning with the other team members by building your team, your own car, engineer stuff, and the other stuff. So I think it's overall, I think that's really good experience. I think that can bring really enthusiastic and inspiring to the other people, especially for who people who wants to start racing.
That is
And
by
you.
far the nicest thing.
Yes, I mean, yes,
That is
And you
that
too.
yeah.
that is by far the nicest way of phrasing what Ryan really said was, well, if Bill and Jeremy can do it, how hard can it be? I
So funny thing, she mentioned her Audi Q7, which is suddenly the tow pig for this vehicle.
Oh
It's okay.
So,
wow.
so it, small modifications, and now it can pull an open trailer with this, the the Volkswagen on the back.
Is it a
Not
U-Haul
bad.
trailer?
No, I ended up buying this. So I'm going to say this right now off the bat. Buying the car was very easy. Like the money left my account. They delivered it to like me, and
Oh,
I was like,
awesome.
awesome, I have a car. And then like the reality sets in because even though I was very gung ho about it, and I sort of knew what I was getting into, like there's so much more. The layers are just wild,
We
you
can
know.
help you with that.
So,
I have
yeah, then I was
spreadsheets.
doing trailer research and finding out, load ratings on tires and for trailers and wiring and brake controllers and trying to get this Audi to pull something because, we just spend money on a race car, so I don't have time to buy, a real truck. So, yeah, we're learning as we go.
So
Well, the one thing that I can probably recommend going into this for sure is to work with another team.
Hmm.
And just like either if it's Audra's team or our team or Jeremy's team, buddy up with that team and share resources to start out. And then doing that, you'll learn.
Yeah, absolutely. We need the training wheels.
Mhm.
well, luckily, we have that offer. It's coming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
So
what we do.
so for those playing a home game, they've all guessed what your race car is. Let's tell them.
Okay, so it's a 1998 Volkswagen Jetta with the 2-liter ABA. It's the GL model. So it's got the 4 doors. It's the nice sedan with a 5-speed in there.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So obviously you're going to be paying attention to Jeremy because he seems to be the Volkswagen whisperer.
Yeah, he has got a little side chat going with me, and I need his like triple square stuff that Volkswagen seems to use all the time.
I have triple squares. They're in the box. Don't worry.
Now, are you very familiar with working on those cars?
So I'm by no means a mechanic, but I can find myself, I'm not uncomfortable turning a bolt. It just YouTube videos help very much. So the point here is my second car was a Mark III Golf. The Jetta is essentially the same thing, so I feel fairly comfortable around it, but definitely going to learn on the fly.
All right. So I've got a plan for this podcast, and I'm looking at the plan, and I think your plan's better than my plan.
Which is
So I had things such as car and car prep, but it sounds like your car is more or less ready, except for the,
Well,
the finer details.
yeah, can I tell you a funny story about the car?
If
sure.
only we had a
We love
podcast you
funny
could do it on.
stories.
So like again, the Facebook says turnkey ready, good guy. Bought it from a guy named Joe. Nice guy. He's in Jersey. Delivered it to me. We talked about it. He helped me mount new tires for my trailer when I got it. And then as I was doing like basic things like trying to start theming this with vinyl and stuff, uh, it wouldn't start, and then batteries, and then alternators, and then bad wiring. So I've had to replace a few things like pretty much right off the bat, with a new power switch, like the master switch, new alternator, and then rewired the battery to those things. And once I did that, it now seems to be, I mean, I'm knocking on every piece of wood around me, but seems to be very acting good. Just
German
give me,
car with
yeah.
electrical issues.
Hey, who would have thought, right?
So have you understood the concept of maintaining a race car yet?
If I said yes, I'd be lying.
Okay. All right. Because the one thing that I've learned in my growing through it was that I could never figure out what people did in the off season. What do you mean? What are you doing in the off season
Mhm.
besides just kind of checking things over? And I had one guy tell me, he was the guy that was working on one of the builds on the cars. He says, you change the things that go whir. So going through and changing all your, for everybody out there, is just changing something called consumables, which are just the pieces of your engine that take the most beating. That could be your water pump, double check your water pump, double check all these little check. I don't have the checklist in my head right now, but those things
Engine
have
mounts,
mileage
suspension.
limit. Yeah, mileage limits on them more so than they have time. No, did I get that right?
Nope, but it's
Okay,
okay.
say it again. Say it again, Bill. What is it?
So, so it's not, change your oil every 3,000 miles with a race car. It's not,
It can't be treated like a street car.
right. So, you're going to develop a checklist eventually. Hopefully,
Mhm.
Jeremy has one for you. I don't know. Jeremy's a big checklist guy, though. And as things break in the future, you can refine your checklist. And ideally, the concept of a preventive maintenance, which is my wheel bearings will last 6 races. Maybe I should replace them after 5 races as opposed to 6 races, or vice versa. So things like that. So I can give you a model of what we have. Not a problem. It's easy. It's available to everybody at the Garage Gears and Training website. But
Go there.
but
That's a really good example. For the slippery slope car, wheel bearings have been a problem for us. So Max has it on a schedule to replace them in advance so that we don't have that problem again
Right.
while
So
we're on the race.
you replace them before they fail, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
You definitely
Because-
want to replace them before the tire passes you.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one thing that we had learned was that we were treating our car like a street car. So every time we would only work on our car when things broke. And unfortunately, they broke at the racetrack. So what we end up learning is that that's what the off season was to go through your car and to say, oh, the water pump hasn't been changed in a really, really long time. Maybe we should take a look at that. Maybe that needs to be replaced, or
Power steering.
power
whatever.
steering might, something in that area might have to be taken a look at. And you know what it was the freaking ball joints that hold the grease balls in them. We never changed those on the truck. And when we actually went in there and started pulling the truck apart, because one season we decided that we were just going to tear the truck down and take a look at those things were so full of sand and dirt and collapse. That's what was killing our power steering because the suspension had to work so freaking hard to do anything.
It was like trying to turn concrete.
Right. So, it was
Wow.
terrible.
How about that?
Miss Audra, what about car prep have you learned with your festivities so far?
Well, there's Max Mayo standards, and I've learned that you go through and you replace everything, even if the prior owner says, oh, it only needs fluids, and you're good to go. So it was a whole lot more than just fluids for my E30. Max did a ton of like preventive maintenance before it even went out, which, serves us very well. We wound up using it, as you know, for New Hampshire because the slippery slope car had a problem, and it performed just fine because he had done all of that in advance. So I can get you a list of things that he did to our cars before they even went out, if that would help you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's some similarities between German sedans, right? So
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So the thing that really Max is I'm not going to get into a contest over who's more anal about fixing and repairing their car because it's
pretty tight.
It's right there. It's neck and neck. So I could do the Ross Bentley thing where I'm the most competitive. No, I'm the most competitive. Anyway, if I buy a car, we tend to replace almost everything because I don't know when it was replaced. Like, is this wheel bearing been on there since it was a street car? Or has it been on there for 40 races? Or is it brand new? And it's hard to tell. So sometimes you just, for peace of mind, you just want to start
it doesn't
fresh.
necessarily have to be anything, but it certainly has to be those definitely pieces that wear out fast. You
or
definitely
weak
want to
spots,
replace those. Yeah,
weak
the weak
spots in the
spots on
car.
the engine. And Bill, like I said, Bill has that checklist on the website, our Garage Heroes and Training website. And
Yeah, I think
because the theory is, if you think about it, is that you paid a lot of money to be at the racetrack, and you certainly would rather be on the track and not paid all the money to be working on your car, which you could have been doing that at home.
Right.
So that's kind of how it looks. But at the same time, if your car breaks, you have a dozen mechanics also with their face in your car helping you out, getting more experience. So, however you want to look at it.
so. The favorite thing that we're told is Chris. You know Chris from Three Pedal. He's always like the most expensive garage time you ever have is at the racetrack. So you try to minimize that, and then
Yeah.
the other thing is if you have like a pit vehicle or something that you need to work on that's just not working right, just pretend it's part of your theme and bring it to the track, and it'll be fixed without you even touching it. It's like the little fixing fairies of little 24 hours of lemons. They're like, oh, it's broken. I've got to go fix it. And there'll be like 10 guys
Yeah.
there. So
Mhm.
so what about your car and your car prep is concerning for you, or things that you've thought about, or things you might not know the answers to? And that's kind of a hard question to ask, but
Well, yeah, good point. So the last time this car competed was 2024 New Jersey Motorsports Park. So it'll be 1 year to when it races again. Um, and it completed the race with the need of an additional alternator, which I think was related to that wiring we kind of talked
Mhm.
about earlier, which feel like I've addressed that. So I feel pretty good about that. Um, they did a pretty good job from what they've told me of sort of prepping for that race in terms of like new spark plugs, change oil. Um, the wheel bearings is a question mark for me, so that's a little bit concerning. And I hear you guys saying it, and I was told that on the Volkswagen in particular, the wheel bearings are a suspect. So I have them. FCP Euro has just shipped me some boxes of wheel bearings. And I felt really comfortable the fact that they were at the house, but now you're making me think like I should just change them.
You should
Well,
just change them. And if anything, I mean, if you have the time,
at least test them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, even if you pull them and change them, I mean, changing a wheel bearing is really not too difficult. But if you do it and you can actually put them on the side, like if something goes, you kind of have like this quick spare just to get you through the end of the race, you know?
Mhm.
Depends on the design because some of them break.
Yeah.
So it
Oh, what
depends.
we're moving them, they break?
Yeah, remember when we had to cut the bearing race off with the rears of I think it was the rears of the E46.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I
Mm.
do remember.
So yeah, there's that. But the nice thing about FCP Euro is buy once, cry once. You just replace them. But I would say now, remember, I'm ridiculous and I'm slightly anal about this. I would order two sets from FCP Euro so that the one that I take off that's broken that I send back, I still have what I need to keep going.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
but you can't do this all at once. Like you will not
No.
get to the race level you want to be and the preparation level you want to be eventually because unless you have an unlimited budget, racing will take all the money you're willing to throw at it and
Yep.
do it in steps. Like
Hmm.
the gotta haves, you gotta get the
Hmm.
nice to haves maybe next year
Yeah.
or as time permits.
Hmm. But I think you'll be fine. I mean, it sounds like you have a decent car already selected, and you just might need just a little tweaking to it for starters.
Do you have a plan to take it out and shake it down at some type of event before?
Yeah. That plan was foiled by the alternator electric issue when I had brought it to a what is it? What is the SCCA Track Night in America in
Mhm.
like November? It was the last event of the year. It was just after I bought the car, and it's yeah, I'll get it out and shake it down a little bit. And of course, that's when it wouldn't start or run.
Hmm.
So that was a big waste. But yes, the intent. So I bought like a 4 pack of like track days that I intend to get it out soon. As soon as it starts warming up, which won't
Where
be
are you
till
guys located?
we're just outside of Philadelphia. We're in Delaware
Oh,
County.
where
So
at?
New Jersey, Yeah, Delaware County, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So
okay, you're
it's
down there near the Chester area.
correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, we
So
passed
Jersey,
you.
yeah.
Vicky's from
You're not
Delaware.
that far from us.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. I don't think I'm that far from you. But I don't know.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah,
Is it 2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I think Jersey is still the closest track.
yes.
Pocono is arguably a little farther, but still in range,
Hmm.
Hmm.
So would be my two closest to drive to.
There's a track night at Pocono for sure. I've done it already.
Hmm. And of
So
course they have Wednesday nights over, I think they're Wednesday nights track night in America down at New Jersey. That you can just drive it over there after work and just kind of spin it.
it's like an afternoon thing.
I
Hmm.
mean, I want to do that with this one
Yes.
sitting right next
Yeah,
to
we're
me.
going to get to her next.
Oh yeah. She's the centerpiece of this discussion. We're
Oh
getting the
yeah,
light
she
stuff
is.
away with Ryan, but
Yeah,
We
no
blew
worries.
things up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm listening. I'm learning. It's like
Yeah.
all those terms, like I'm not familiar, but it's good to know. Good to
Hmm.
hear. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just other stuff on the car. Like I have another radiator sitting in our living room right here.
it's a
That's
good plan.
also, so I have that, and I was thinking I would when because you got to change the antifreeze to whatever,
Water.
just water. I was
Hmm.
gonna maybe change the radiator at the same time since I'm gonna have to dump it anyway. So that was a thought process.
Is the one you have in there stock or is it
The one I have in there is stock and definitely old, and the car runs hotter than I'd like.
okay?
Mm.
Did
So
you
you
buy a
probably need
racing
oil
one?
cooler in it, right?
I did not, so when I say, I don't know if it has an oil cooler. We'll have to check this. And
Yeah.
then as far as did I buy a racing one? I did not. I bought a stock one because my theory here is to keep buying OEM or like stock stuff. And then I know I have a theory that if I just keep replacing it with the same stuff, it'll be fine. If I'm
But
concerned with
this,
upgrading stuff, and then sometimes you upgrade and it backfires. Do you know what I mean?
well, there's as far as cooling goes, we're doing endurance racing,
Yeah, I hear you.
and the OEM one was not designed for what we do to it. You know, 7, 8 hour, 16 hours, whatever, straight at temperature, hot. So cooling system, I wouldn't be opposed to. Alan and several of the other people are kind of popular with getting the smaller pulley so that and the air conditioner is deleted and the alternator is not running at full throttle the entire time. So those are kind of things that'll help. And then, like Vicky said, you can add coolers. They're particular to each model of car what you need to cool. Like, is it a diff cooler? Is it a trans cooler? Is it a oil cooler? Usually, oil's the first one, to be fair, but the radiator is probably up there. The other thing you might want to do with your radiator is duct it. That can be either with metal or with insulating foam and tape, cheap way. And that way you force the air through the radiator as opposed to allowing it to go around because path of least resistance.
Okay. Okay.
So, especially if your car's running hot, hot is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. The only thing I've experienced with it so far is I was able to get it working for an autocross.
Okay.
Uh, and that's where I was saying it's a little warm on idle. It's, idling around 220 or something like that, which is too hot.
What's the happy spot on that car? Is it like 200?
Yeah, I think I would love to see it in that 180 to 200 range and to be very happy. But yeah, two 220 is like getting its for
Yeah,
not working all that hard. It's a little too hot. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, I know ducting would help, and we can do that on FaceTime with you. And just it's if you do it with the foam, it's probably a couple hours. It's
Cool.
not hard at all. Even I can do that. So, any other concerns with the car, sir?
Other than that, well, yeah, so it still has so it's got disc brakes in the front, but it's got shoes and drums in the back.
The truck had the same thing.
Yep.
So,
It's not required.
yeah,
That may be year two. The nice thing is you're starting with a new team and you're going to go relatively slowly.
Hmm.
So it's not like, Jonah can drive the wheels off a car. So it would impact him more than it would be to your newer team. If it's to the point where you don't feel safe in it, I would change it immediately. If it's to the point where, wow, we can't go to our ultimate speed, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the group of buddies I have here are a group of like dead novices. Like
Perfect.
never,
Oh,
yeah. So
Perfect.
like Duckia is an example of that, where, a lot of, false starts. Like I did autocross for years. She was going to do it with me. And then of course, immediately got pregnant, which, that's
That's
how
your
it
fault,
goes,
buddy.
right?
That's your fault,
I,
buddy.
I know that's my fault.
Okay.
And then,
Choose your
so anyway,
priorities.
then I'm gonna have, and it sounds like we've got three other buddies that are various degrees of sort of autocross, maybe a track day here or there, but no racing experience. But I'm committed to doing this like with the full novice team and just sort of breaking everybody in.
Well, historically, we started out with 4 people who'd never been on a track, and 2 of them were teenagers. However, you mentioned that we have autocross people involved. So let's talk to an autocross person. Who do we have on here who's an autocross person who transitioned to the track?
Oh, do we have somebody like that?
I think we might.
Yeah, it's you have all the skills, coming from autocross going to track. And I think that is very transferable. It really sets you up well. I've had
Yes.
people say to me that they would prefer to be on a team with someone who's come from autocross and has had no track experience than someone just coming fresh to track with no track experience. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
However, there are concerns about autocross people because they like to live at or just above the limit, and perhaps for 14 hours, that may not be where we want to reside for the
I'm
entire
not
time.
like that.
Otherwise, we'll name turns after you.
Only once.
I, just saying. Just saying. If the turn fits, you
Oh.
wear you wear the moniker. It's
Mhm.
okay.
So your drivers are relatively new, which is th- and they're going to go into lemons.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is fine. Lemons
It
is
is
made for
fine.
that.
Lemons is conducive for it. And of course, as you know, Lemons is extremely friendly to new drivers.
Mhm.
They're very tolerant of new drivers, which
They're
is
not
great.
they're not tolerant of certain attitudes of drivers,
No.
as you well know.
Mhm.
So as long as we have the proper, I am not going for my NASCAR license here. I am not looking for my scouting to F1. We should be fine.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. There's one guy on the team, and I'll intentionally not say a name so that they can argue about who they think it is, that like is maybe more of the send it and like let's find the limit by going over it. And then I think the other two will
Ooh,
be fine.
ooh.
You know she's right next to you now.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know about Ducky. I don't have a good read on how she's going to approach this because she keeps telling me that she's going to be faster than me all day long.
Well, I mean, that's not that hard, Ryan. I mean, oh wait, sorry, that was out loud.
Uh,
Just kidding.
sometimes Lemons is like driving on like the New Jersey freeway.
Lemons is easier.
What's that?
Lemons is easier than driving on the New Jersey freeway. Just
Yeah, it's safer.
yeah.
That's for sure.
That's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah, that's for sure. But as for Duckia going in, um and for like not being behind the wheel like that, uh what do you think are some of the things would be a great tip for her?
For
Well,
her?
well,
Well,
what does she? What's her
What are your
plan?
concerns? What are your concerns about going
well,
to Duckia? Do you have any?
Uh, well, safety for sure.
sure.
Yeah, safety for sure. But I learned that as yeah, Vicky said and Audra said, Lemons is friendly, like racing. I think is is emphasis on safety at Lemon. So I don't have much concern like with the environment, but I'm more concerned that how I adapt myself, like my ability to the environment, because um I'm new and I even though like conceptually I think I can drive fast, but in reality, how to put that experience into the real track, I think that's my concern. And I think seriatically, Ryan and I mean, Ryan taught me some like those racing tricks, and also I can see from what I watch the racing that looks like easier, but I know that in reality of driving, that's challenging.
Hmm.
So yeah, so for me, I think my biggest concern is how to adapt myself into a racing mode under the safety environment and try to get myself comfortable and also in a racing spirit, which is I want to be fast, but I don't want to cause accident or or doing something foolish on the track.
So do
Hmm.
you have like practice events planned before you get to an Lemons event? You doing?
Yes, yeah, we do. We booked some practice track and the moto New Jersey Motorsports Park. Um, and I think probably there's some other like is empty like parking lot that we can.
I don't know if that's going to work out in the empty parking lot, but we we definitely bought a 4 pack of track days on Thunderbolt through
That's a
like
good place
Mo.
to start.
Yeah, so
Are they Track Night in America or HBDs?
they're through Mo
Okay.
Motorsport
Photo Ray.
Mo Day. I don't know, but yeah, they're usually Mondays. So the 4 pack he has almost every Monday rented out over there. So we'll just have to take off work, make sure the girls are in school, and go.
So is there instruction or is it open track?
It is open track and you can pay more for instruction. The issue with my car is that obviously there is no second seat, so none of the
Mm,
instruction is going to work.
right.
Okay.
So Duckia, I told this to Audra when I first put her into a car, is that you are safer in that race car than you are in your own car. And when you sit in that car, you are not being strapped into it. The car is being strapped onto you. You are being put and strapped. You're having a cage being strapped onto you that you're able to drive. So safety as if like you hurting yourself and the likelihood of you hurting yourself at the speeds that you're going to be driving, because you're going to feel like you're driving a whole lot faster than you really are when you're out there, just because of the sensation in the cars that are going by you. That safety wise, you're going to be okay with that. You're going to be just fine. So safety is, of course you want to take it seriously and stuff like that, obviously. But if that's like a major concern about you having bodily harm, that you can kind of take that away for a little while, because you're not going to be going crazy. You're going to be in safety mode when you're driving, and that's
Mhm.
okay. So, and actually, when you're out there driving, you just drive what makes you comfortable at the speed that you're comfortable at. You have nothing to prove to anybody except for the fact that you also paid to be there. And then, the big thing is just to just be predictable. So if you're, eventually you're going to learn the lines, but even in Lemons, you really can't stick to a line. And
It's
then
too
of
many
course
cars.
having your head on a swivel and just kind of know where the traffic is around you, kind of constantly look in your mirrors and look forward. But I can guarantee you are safer in that car than you are on the street.
Nobody's on their
Okay.
phone.
Hmm?
Nobody's on their phone driving next to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
So
and the cars that come up next to you, yes, they are very close. They do look close, they do feel close, and sometimes, they might be like right up on you, but they know what they're doing too. And it takes it takes everybody to get around the track. So nobody's like stuck in their head and trying to make their way around. Of course, there's a couple jerks that are out there that might do that, might dive bomb or whatever. But um but it's a teamwork to get everybody around the track safely, and everybody wants to get around the track safely. They're not intentionally trying to cut anybody off or anything. So even if they're close, they know what they're doing. You just maintain what you're doing, and you'll be just fine.
Okay. That made me feel better. It's like
Did it make you feel a
less,
little better?
yeah, it's like less nervous,
Yeah.
less concern.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah, and as you get more comfortable, you'll become faster. But when the
Don't push it.
experience, yeah, don't push it. You don't push
okay.
it. Actually, if you just want to go out there a Sunday drive, as long as you have, 3 and 9, your hands, both hands on the steering wheel. I learned that. Don't drive with one hand on the steering wheel and one hand on your stick. Just both hands on the steering wheel. Um, and drive that way. Uh, they know what they're doing, and when they see you coming around, those people that have been there, especially like people have been in the lemons for like forever, they know that, oh, Duckia is in the car and Duckia is driving a little bit slower than everybody, and that's cool, that's okay, and they'll adjust their driving for you. So it's not you in the race car. It's everybody else is looking out for everybody. Everybody sees you, they see you, and they'll adjust their driving also for you and work their way around it.
Okay.
So
And they like women drivers. Lemons enjoys when girls come out and want to race. And it's not like in a weird way or anything like that. It's just like, oh, girl team, that's awesome. Or, they're bringing in, a girl driver. They think that's cool.
or new drivers too.
They like they don't mind new drivers. So extremely welcoming, and they're very, very friendly with that.
Oh,
So
that's good. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
you're not out there all by yourself at all. And if somebody comes by and gives you like a thumbs up, they know you're in there. That kind of makes you feel good when somebody says, "I see you."
You'll,
Yeah,
you'll get you'll
feel
get
good.
waves from the slippery slope car. You'll get waves from our car as it's going by. Jeremy may
Jeremy's
throw the finger
car,
out, but that
probably
don't.
Alan's team, if they see you, they'll probably give you a wave by,
Yep.
you know. But just
It's
go with your
good.
pace. You have nothing to prove to anybody.
So
Okay.
have you driven autocross or have you driven on track yet, Duckia?
No, I don't. That's also the other things I would like to see and also would like to learn that as all of you experience like autocross and also the track, what's difference and what's your perspective like when you drive at Lemons than autocross? Because I heard from Ryan, I just want to hear it's like different.
You know how this goes, Bill, right? She
Well,
heard it from me, so it was
dude,
probably not true.
dude, I am right there with you. I will tell you, and I don't know if Audra's going to agree with me. You will pass more cars on the track than you will in autocross. Just.
Yeah, I would have to say that that is a true statement, Bill.
Exactly.
So here's the question then, Audra. Does it make sense because to like as part of our cross training here to
Hmm.
get Duckia to an autocross also because New Jersey is until June, right? So we've got a little bit of time. So going to definitely do some track days as I mentioned, and then get her in an autocross. You think that's worth the time?
Absolutely, because she'll learn, some really excellent car control at autocross. You can do things at autocross that you're not going to do on the track. I mean, you will be driving, 10 tenths, and on the track, you don't do that. And at autocross, if you spin out, so what? What are you going to hit? A couple of cones, You can really feel the limits of the car, and I think that's a really good experience to have.
I,
Good.
I, I'm a yes, and I agree that it would be good. I'd rather if you had like one or the other, I'd rather you get on track with an instructor. Just I think
And put in, maybe a skid school.
yeah, if you could, yeah.
Um,
And to go on track, you don't have to be in the race car. It's great to be in the race car, but you can go on track in a regular car.
Hmm.
So it's because you're not going to be wheel to wheel racing, so it's safe, it's fine. And with an instructor, there's a few things that you could know that'll really help and reduce the stress, which I think is the best of both worlds. And I'm not saying don't do autocross. If you have time and there's an autocross, boom, go for sure. But if it was one or the other, I would rather see you in track with an instructor.
Yeah, I like that suggestions being with this instructor on the track because I think when if I practice drive by myself, like I have some ideas or thoughts, but maybe that's not productive. With the instructor, with the experienced ones, like can tell exactly like if I doing
Hmm.
turning wrong or doing
Hmm.
something wrong, then I can immediately to find out like how to correct that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I like that. So maybe I don't know if we can bring the loaders to the track and then we
Yeah,
can
you
have
can.
someone, right, to
Yeah.
practice and then get into the racetrack like by myself when I get to experience that. Um, then yeah, I think that will build more confidence and also more comfortable over
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
So when you are learning, just an an observation that we had gone through is that initially when you're out there, it's almost like a sensory overload in a sense because there's so much going on around you and there's so much you're learning at the same time. But just know that it all of racing is like a video game. If you start out and you start learning like in the baby steps, and then it just keeps building on itself. And things will hit you and you'll learn things at the right time when you're meant to learn them. Because as you're learning, everything feels important. Everything is going on, but some of those things start become so innate and so natural they move to the background. And then more things come in, and then that moves to the background. And pretty soon you don't have to think so much when you're behind the car, but in the initial part of it, it feels overwhelming, but that's very normal until that becomes natural.
Yeah, so when in terms of like some of these fresh novices that we have here, you think, I was planning maybe throwing them in for an hour at a time. Do you think that's too much?
or
You
the
know what? We started at 45 minutes. If they
30.
could make it 30 to 45 minutes, I think, yeah, start them out at 30. And if they're okay to 45, that's fine. But I think new drivers at 45, they start getting overwhelmed after that.
There's stress the first time out there, and you're just overwhelmed, and you just need to get out of the car and clear your head. You're
Right.
not, I hate to break this to you, you're not going to win your first race.
Yeah. That's what
So,
Bill would always say. If we wanted to win, we would have brought different cars and different drivers.
that's right, which is true. But
Yes.
just, you get everybody to cycle through the car,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it gets the stress out of the way. If you were to say, Bill, what should we do? I'd say, Ryan, you go out for the first stint, do like an hour, hour and a
Your
half,
most experience should be the first one out.
right?
Mhm.
Because there's the most cars and the craziest people. And then start cycling people through. And I would literally do a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, because I'd rather have them get in, drive, have success, get out and relax a little bit than freak out or get tired or start losing their mental sharpness. So, and then once, even let's say Ducky and I go to an event and I'm an instructor, not that I just volunteered, but um, even if we do that, the first time she gets into a race, it's going to feel totally different, similar, but totally different. And she's going to have stress or anxieties inside, and she may not relax. And you get a little hyped up.
You,
And,
you grip the wheel
right.
like you're in a chokehold.
And then you just need to get out and go, wow, that wasn't so bad. I think, Audra, what was your favorite, your famous comment when you first got out of the car?
Oh,
It was awful. It was
oh, yeah. It was the awful, terrible, scariest thing. And it was the best time I ever had.
Right.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But they put me in for 45 minutes, and I think that was, pretty good. I'm not sure that for my first stint I could have gone longer than that. And it was
Mhm.
definitely probably, well, definitely probably. I was
Definitely,
definitely
probably.
when I got out of the car. Um, I was pretty scared going in for my first time. I had a couple of HPDs and lots and lots of autocross. It was the first time that I had people like coming up and passing me in a very quick manner. It was a little bit to get used to.
Yeah.
So
She
I'm
got out of the
sorry.
car complaining that everybody was dive bombing her. I'm like, no, Audra, they were just passing you. It's okay.
I don't
They were
remember
just
saying that,
passing.
but okay.
All these people are dive bombing me. I'm
Well,
like, no,
what?
it's
Also,
fine.
she was at Thompson, which is, not an easy track for for the first time out. It's
No,
really not.
no.
Thompson was my first time out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated track for a newbie.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was I started in a champ car, so that was
Mhm.
felt like I was thrown into the deep end, but
Mhm.
it was
And
fun.
that's what it feels like. And you're just holding on and surviving. But the adrenaline rush that you get out of it is like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It really is. You come off of there going, that was freaking awesome. I was terrified, but it was awesome.
Right. And
Well,
then
the
then
great
the
thing
second
too.
stint could be longer. It depends on how you
Then
feel.
it gets easier and more predictable. You know what to expect at that point. But
But don't go in expecting to do a 2.5 hour stint.
mm-mm,
Just don't even worry about it.
But
nope.
it's awesome when you work up to that because you don't get that kind of time in any other kind of event.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
This is so much time just driving, which, it's just so great to have that, right?
Okay,
absolutely.
so details we haven't talked about. You guys need to practice getting in and out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that includes moving the seat. Because I don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed, you've got different people of different heights.
And
We
the
are
ball,
very different heights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe not quite as bad as the Audra Max height difference, but like close.
It's not far.
It's
But
close. Yeah. And then
so
plus there's a seat back.
yep.
And I don't, what is that thing called? Seat back support?
Seat back brace,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you gotta get used to it and you gotta just put together the list of drivers. Let's say it's Ryan, Duckia, and Joe and Ben and Tom, whatever. I don't care. Do every combination because each combination you're going to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the driver going in on our team. The driver going in is responsible for the fire extinguisher. Someone else is doing gas because you don't want to have the driver smell like gas. Okay. The driver getting out, if they're capable, is putting gas cans over the wall. If they're not capable, we figure it out. But do the combinations because you're going to have different things at different times with different pit stops, and everybody needs to know everything. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of hot pit stops in autocross. I mean, maybe Audra runs a different kind of autocross, but I don't see them very often. So it's not something you've done, and it's not like driving to the gas station either. It's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
but too, Ryan, from when we did it with Slippery Slope, that, the billboard was critical, like having, you know, everything written down and everybody
The
knew.
Yes.
whiteboard. Bill
Larry,
brought out that
it's a whole
whiteboard.
spreadsheet that we used. And just being like, don't panic.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Just being very calm. Like you get through it much quicker the calmer you are.
Yeah, yeah, for me it's being very deliberate because like I remember like my first pit stop, I like threw myself into the seat like as quickly as possible. None of the belts, like I was sitting on like the anti-sub belt, they're like trying to fish it out from under me. People are just like, get out of the car. You're making this so much harder.
And
Mhm.
stop helping. Don't
Yeah,
help.
Stop helping. Just put your hands up.
yeah.
So, and also, recommended that your newest drivers obviously should not start or finish. First day, for thrills, they can finish.
Yes. First day they can finish.
Last day, don't let them finish
Mm-mm.
because
The race is
it
on.
is the race is on at the end of the day, and things get gamey with the experienced drivers. But your easiest time for your learning is going to be those windows of time in between the first and the second. And actually, after lunch, even better because on the first day, obviously is the most packed that they're going to be. And probably by noon, you're going to have 10 or 15% of the cars are going to be knocked out already. And by the end of the first day, it could be just 20%. And it gets easier on the second day in the mid part for your learning that goes on because the track starts to free up. But yeah, for the thrill, if you want to select a driver on the first day to end of racing, that would probably be your best time because it's not as crazy for the new driver. They won't get overwhelmed. But that last day, that last day, that's when the accidents start to happen
Again, yeah.
again because everybody's going to try to get their fast lap in, and you're going to see people hit the wall like I did because I was trying to get my fast lap in.
On a lap she wasn't even going to finish, but that's a different story.
I'm not even going to finish.
Now, the last thing that I really want you guys to be careful about, and it's not because we plan on it, it's because it could happen. If the car catches fire and you need to get out, you need to know how to do it. And that not how to do it is what to turn off, where the switches are, where your belts are, and how quickly you can get out. And I recommend doing it on the grass or something soft. If you have a mattress next to the car, even better. Because I'm when I say get out as fast as you can, I mean throw yourself out of the car. And as a bonus, you should be able to do it with paper towels stuffed in your helmet so you can't see. And if you can do that in like 5 or 10 seconds, then that's the maximum amount of time you will be susceptible to smoke and fire or whatever. Then this is not the plan, but just in case. You know,
Team motto is don't get charred, save the car.
you pull over, you pull the fire suppression system, you open the door and you fling yourself out. And fling yourself out with my luxurious body is head first. And if I land on my face, I don't care. But I'm not going to get burnt. And let the car burn. we'll help build another one. Don't worry. It'll be fine. So, but just do that so you're safe.
But by the way, how many cases? I don't think I ever seen like the car caught fire at Lemons.
We've never seen it. I mean, we had our brakes catch on fire one time. We've seen a couple of times where that happens, but it's very rare. But if you know you can do it and you've done it before, it's something that we don't worry about.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Okay.
all right, paddock. I think the best plan you guys could have is to partner up with a team or teams that generally paddock together and perhaps share the load and learn as you go. That's just a suggestion. If only you knew some teams that race that'll be at these races. It's got to be something.
Dear Garage Heroes in Training.
Yes,
would it be
exactly.
possible to pull our stuff next to your stuff? And then
Absolutely.
I believe
we wouldn't have it any other way.
I believe we can make that happen, and we'll have meetings before the race, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, and we'll teach you how to run a paddock.
It's not hard. There's just a lot.
Yeah, but once you figure it out, it just becomes like a second nature. As the whole thing gets set up, and we'll show you how it all gets set up. Much like camp, when containers that are easy to access to get through. Crock-pot meals, best way to go. Crock-pot meals. Audra has her own system. You guys don't do crock-pot. You guys do hot and fresh.
we do some crock-pot stuff. We do like I have a set meal plan now that seems to be working pretty well. But the one bit of advice
they got all the allergies on their team.
Yeah, so, we have vegetarians and basically our chewing crew, he can't have anything, like everything will kill Larry. So we have to be very careful what we feed Larry.
Please keep Larry alive.
Yeah, chewing crew, keep Larry alive.
Trying to keep Larry alive. But as far as like the paddock and all of that, we found the first our first experience was a little weird. We will discount that one. But the first time we were like, like packing up like normal people, We were like one of the last teams to get out because we thought it was like autocross, and like at the end of the day, we just pack everything up.
You
But that's
can.
not the case. Like
That's a one way of doing it.
you have to start as soon as like your first driver goes out, start packing up your stuff, start getting,
Yeah,
everything
non-essentials out of the way.
packed up and put away because it is like it's a rush at the end of the day. It's a killer to get it all done if you wait.
Hmm.
Indeed. We'll be there. We'll be helping you. So, bigger concern on my end, not because we won't cover for you. Jeremy has his stuff. We have our stuff. We know lots of people in the paddock. How is your pit area supplies going to be, like tools and parts and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have basic sets of ratchets and drills and things like this, but that's, I've got I went to Harbor Freight and got myself sort of a roller pack out kit, so I'm
Nice.
gonna get everything to fit into that, and it is. Let me be clear, it's what I've been using to work on all my cars thus far, but it's nothing special. Like it's
Okay.
just the basic, you know.
And that's something you can grow with.
Yes.
There's no reason for you to come packed like Jeremy or packed like us, and you'll go through a cycle where you'll start with next to nothing, which is where everybody starts, and then you'll grow and grow and grow, and you'll have all this stuff and you'll have everything, and then you'll realize, why am I carrying all this stuff? And you'll start to go down. You won't go all the way back, but you'll start to go down. Parts are going to be the tricky one because you have a car that you can't just run to the local flaps and see what's going on there. So that's to choose wisely and grow as you can.
Yeah, my thought process here is that, stuff like that is very specific to the car, I want to have it, specific, like the wheel bearings. I've got two wheel bearings,
How many
so
wheels do you have on the car?
okay, I have four wheels on the car.
Just checking. I'm just,
And so I got two fronts and two rears wheel bearings, which
Okay. That's better.
and then
I feel
I've got
better now.
I got a spare radiator. I've got a couple of, like, I think I'm gonna get some tie rods. Ball, Vicky, you mentioned ball ends. I'm gonna get. I already have those. I have two of those. Those just came in. So,
Oh,
like, I have a variety of, like, little, what I think are pain points. And those are, like, very specific to the car. And then my thought is, like, fluids and stuff like that. That I can get for an advanced auto. I'm not gonna
yep.
worry about it.
What about tires and wheels?
Yes, good point. So the car came with a variety of 14-inch wheels, which is what, I'm going to run them. So there's tires that are on there. They're the Falcon RT 615K Plus,
Hmm.
which seem like they're a decent tire.
They
And
are.
let me put it like this. There's a set of wheels on the car. I'm counting wheels now. There's two sets in my basement, and there's a third set that I just bought that have no tires on it. So the plan is, and everything's used with the exception of the plan is that the new wheels that have no tires on them, I'm going to get actually new tires,
Okay.
and we'll run those for race weekend, and then have a bunch of backups with the rest. And
Okay.
then they're all in varying states of used and unused.
Okay. That's fine. Do you know how many heat cycles they've gone through or races they've been used for?
Question marks, all question
Okay.
marks.
It would be good to know. If you talk to the team that sold you the car, they might know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This comes to the part where we open the floor to you guys. What do you need? What can we help you with? We love helping. It's the
Yeah,
whole reason
so
we started this podcast.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wasn't concerned about before, so the seat looks good, but the belts are good through the end of 2025, which is this year, right?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I feel okay about that. The fire extinguishers that's in the car is good, is fairly new. But I realized as I was adjusting the belts, the adjustment mechanism hits the seat exactly as where it goes through the seat, which is makes it very hard to adjust. It makes it hard to loosen more than it does to tighten.
Are they pull up or pull down?
They're pull up right now, um, but they're
So
pull up.
pull-ups don't have to go through the seat. I mean, obviously the part that goes across the lap belt, but to tighten it, you can go outside the seat if it's outside or if it's inside.
Yeah, and the issue is, at least with me, with the seat all the way back,
Hmm.
it's like exactly there at like the entry of that. So I think
So
she'll be fine. It's like one of the things where like if the seat was in a different position, those pull-ups will be like you could go in a different direction, like outside. You pull the ends
yeah,
outside the seat.
yeah.
Um, the issue for me is because it's right there, they're sort of like already in. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if
Yeah,
you
but
make them,
yeah, that would just be just drill a new hole and move them back.
no,
Yeah.
not in the seat. So
Hmm.
what I would say with what you're doing is you're right at the limit for where you would be sitting, Ryan. So make it a little longer for you. Just
Hmm.
adjust it on the bar, but don't get carried away and don't make it pretty. And then adjust it to your shortest driver and make sure it's still good for them. And then when you get that dialed in, because we spent, I don't know, how many hours did we spend trying to get the seat right for when we did our first ladies team? I think that was like 3 hours of messing. And just make sure that it works for both, and then everything in between will be fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then you go through and you do your loops and your harness holders and everything, and make everything pretty. But don't make it pretty until you know it's where you want it to be.
Got it. Yeah. The other thing that I've held off on buying until I talked to you guys was just about radios.
Okay.
So GMRS, DRM, there's all types of acronyms. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
What do you recommend?
We talked to we had an episode on radios, and we had terrible problems with our radios. And once we talked to them, we have not had radio issues except for broken pieces in helmets. So I would recommend listening to the Scott Sampson episode, which I'll send you the number. And then what we did was we said, hey, we bought a cheap radio from Amazon that he said, this is what you need. We sent it to him. He programmed it so that we had individual channels that were private to us. And now we have 8 radios that are all the same. And the key was mounting of the antenna and the way you ran the wires through the car. And that was what we were screwing up wrong. So you don't
Okay.
need to spend a bajillion dollars on radios to start with.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
So
just need two, really.
your next bullet point, it bothers me, but go ahead. Say what it is.
In-car video.
Later. You have
Much
enough
later.
you have enough stuff to worry about.
Uh,
You won't need any of that because you guys don't have anything to prove. Everybody's new.
I can
Everybody's just trying to get around the track.
I can set you up with something easy that you can use your phone,
okay.
and I will lend you one of our Apex Pros, and you will have data and video integrated onto one thing, so you'll have it just to record, so you can look back upon yourself like Miss Vicki does like 7 or 8 years ago, and she realizes just how terrible she was.
Humiliating.
Yes, so you'll have that for records, but I wouldn't. It's low on the list. That doesn't stop you from driving.
Fair enough. No, it does not stop us from driving. Yeah, understood.
Okay.
Um,
Next.
we already talked about paddock and
Uh-huh.
we will
You've
take you up on your offer.
you've been adopted, and we will be ambassadors.
Awesome. Good. Fitting various size drivers. We kind of talked about that.
Hmm.
Tool sharing. Okay. So let's go to this next one, which is theming. So the car is, as we mentioned, is a 98 Volkswagen Jetta. And the car as it came to me was number 44. And I fell in love with the concept of turning this into an Audi 200 Quattro Grand Am, which in 1989 is kind of an iconic car, and it was also number 44. So that is what the car looks like right now.
Hmm. So
Um,
you've got a racing theme going.
I've got a racing theme going, yeah,
Okay.
and I love it. It makes me very, very happy.
Okay. That's strike one, but go ahead.
That's fine. That's the car, right? The car is themed and it looks good for a Lemons theme. The issue is that I really haven't figured out what to do with the people side of the things. And one thing I've learned from Garage Heroes and Training, and I have listened to your Theming is Hard episode. I think you might
Mhm.
even have two episodes on that.
A few. Yeah.
Um, uh, you guys seem to what is it? Anything worth doing is worth overdoing,
100%. I
right?
could
Is
say
that
110%, but that's just ridiculous.
So I haven't figured out, the people side of it. The theory is like since it's sort of a German theme, let's bring some soft pretzels, and
Hmm.
I don't know that that's good enough.
What's the technical word for that, Miss Vicky? Oh, weak sauce. That's right. That's right. Weak sauce. We can do better. So there's two parts of theming that you haven't addressed, and that's the theme of the team, and then almost equally important, especially if you're bringing a car themed as a race car, is the bribing that we'll be doing to the judges. So don't forget that. If you come looking like a race car to their first ever race, they're going to be worried about you. So you
Okay.
have to give them a good bribe so that they go, "Oh, okay, they get it."
Fair enough. Okay.
And and
Bride for the judges.
and the bribe doesn't have to be expensive. It could be very simple, like almost nothing. But we'll help you work something out there because it's no fun theming on the podcast because then we ruin all the excitement. So we will
Yeah.
talk about this one off podcast.
We also bring some like nominal thing for the corner workers.
Hmm.
We always seem to appreciate that. We've actually had people come up to us and thank us for, like we've gotten like the cool towels and sunscreen and things of that nature, and they seem to really appreciate that.
We've handed out popsicles on hot days when we had them
Yep.
because they're sitting out there in the sun and baking.
Hmm.
On
Nothing wrong with
trackside,
that.
we would, when we had access to them, we would do that.
Yeah. So we can play with that. All right. So we'll talk about that one. That'll be in the OnlyFans episode. So that'll be fun.
That's further down. You aren't even there yet. You
Okay.
have so
Okay.
much on your plate right now.
Right
Good.
now, you got to get car on track safe, drivers
Yeah.
driving
Oh,
well, safe.
That's
good.
it.
Well,
Video, who cares?
I'm hearing narrow my focus is what I'm
A little
hearing.
bit.
Yeah,
You
I
got a
think
little scope creep going, buddy.
Okay.
yeah.
Scope
You
creep.
just
That
need to
seems, that
bring it
seems
all down into a tight little ball.
okay. All right. We talked about getting Duckia up and ready to go, but we really haven't talked about how does your marriage survive racing?
Poorly. Well, just remember, Vicky's always right, which kills me. But
As long as your husband doesn't instruct you, you're fine.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. I will say this. We've had on weekends a couple of times we've had like some wine and I like get out the track map for New Jersey Motorsport Park and I'm saying, like, this is the line I would run. And she gives me about 15 minutes of really good attention and then she's like, okay, no more. I'm done.
You have no chance, buddy.
And that's true. That's absolutely true.
That's zero
Bill,
chance.
and what Bill's an engineer, so he's a processes man. And sometimes he likes to process the family and form everybody into like a nice assembly line of certain things. But everybody is relatively autonomous here. So we like to think we are. So, um,
Like 6S'ing the kitchen did not go over well.
what's that?
I 6S'd the kitchen one time in a house we owned before, but everything was labeled. It had little shadows, and that didn't go over very well.
No, it's fine. No, but yeah, the thing is that number one, the biggest thing that we learned in our marriage is that you need to learn to delegate because we didn't do that the first time around and it blew our team up because Bill was taking everything. Bill and I were doing all the car, all
Paddock.
we were doing all the paddock, all the hauling, all the planning and all the purchasing. And what we found out was that it was unsustainable.
For two
And
cars.
Bill and I would end up fighting. And we did that for the first 2 years.
No, we did that for two cars for 2 years.
Oh yeah. And we were exhausted by the time we got to the track. And then we would end up fighting because we had so much responsibility when we needed to learn to delegate. And you can start assigning jobs. Now in ours, we have the garage lead, which is Bill. Bill is team leader. And Bill is the guy, whoever's on your team who's good at sitting behind a desk basically and doing processes, which means, organizing your parts orders, organizing, making sure the person who is in charge of making sure you're signed up for the track events. Okay. Um, and just an overall. And Bill with that is also our runner. He does that too. Now, I started out as sous chef. We have a mechanic and we have a sous chef, which is garage help. So Alan was our mechanic. Alan is our mechanic. Um, and I was a sous chef, which means that I was the maintenance person of the garage. I was a person to make sure all the tools went away. We did livery. We did everything that was other than mechanic work. We kept the garage. Bill bought parts. I would let Bill know. He would buy the parts. They would come in. Jennifer ended up falling into paddock queen. So she ended up doing, making sure, which we would both help, but she ended up falling into it, which she would do meal prep and she would make all the crock pot meals and make sure all the meal stuff was there. I would order trailers because that was part of organizing the team, but Jennifer made sure that the paddock was set up. So Jennifer ran paddock.
She was, and all these are leads. These aren't the only people who do it.
Right. They're just leads. Now, those lead people can delegate for people to have free time, but they were basically, and that's how things just naturally fell into it. Now, Bill originally started out as mechanic, wanted to be a mechanic, but he and I eventually flipped. He ended up being team leader and I ended up working in the garage area. But you can start that out that way because those are the four main parts of your team is garage maintenance, team leader, which is orders and structures, and paddock. And if you have those, at least that's how our team runs. You can delegate it from there for starters, but then people start to morph into other areas, and just start it out there. And if you do that, that'll save your marriage right there going into it.
There you go.
Well,
Because Bill and I,
we'll get to marriage later, but
we were doing it all and it broke us. It literally broke us. And we're just like, we can't do this. And that's when we leaned out to a Three Pedal Mafia and like, you got to delegate that stuff out. You can't do that. It doesn't make a weekend fun.
And we also found early on that having defined responsibilities for each team member was really critical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's much more efficient. Everybody knows what their lane is, and you get your things done. And you just trust that the other people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Together.
now to answer the question that was actually asked, how do we save the marriage? One, you're in a high stress environment and everybody's trying to do their best. Two, when Vicki says we fought, it was more the frustrated bicker. It wasn't like, an argument. It was just
Bill and I don't bicker.
we
very
bicker, we
much.
don't fight. But
So when we bicker, it feels like a fight. You know.
so the thing
Wobble.
you both have to realize is you're both there working as a team, trying to do the best you can. Sometimes tempers will be short. Sometimes people will just say things. Sometimes you will physically be drained at the end of the weekend. And I'm not sure about you, but as I get more tired, my shields go down and my mouth gets bigger. So this is not a good conversation.
Bill naps a lot during the races. He at least takes a nap once a day.
Have to.
If he gets a chance, he'll take a nap.
So
Okay.
Is that
At least,
Duckia?
at least not nap during driving, right?
No, not during driving.
not often. There was this one red flag that took a really long, but that's a different story. So just realize throughout the weekend, one or both of you may say something silly that you don't really mean, but at the moment it just came out and just it is what it is. And then, driving home, you make fun of it. It's fine.
Mhm.
We can do that.
Now, the next one is my concern for your racing team.
Though the next bullet point, child care at the event. I don't know that they have that, right?
No, they don't. They don't have that.
I'm sure that anybody in our groups will help as best we can. The thing that I would be concerned about is if both of you were in two different cars. The
No,
kids.
yeah, that's not. Yeah, we won't be doing that. We'll figure that out. My parents will probably be around, so they might be at the event. They might be off. They might be somewhere else in Jersey. My parents live in 30 minutes away from the racetrack, so maybe we can.
It
We haven't really talked
sounds
to them about this yet, but we
it
may.
sounds to me
Yeah.
like, especially for your first weekend, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens that you're just like, oh, well, and it's you're going to have to work through a lot of stuff. Perhaps a trip to the beach from NJMP. It's not very far away. Might be a nice boardwalk day. Just saying. So, anyway,
Yeah, if you happen, my suggestion would be that your first 2 or 3 races are going to be relatively chaotic for you because, I mean,
not on purpose, but it just
not
works
on
out.
purpose, not on purpose, but you will be bumped up against somebody else to help walk you through things and help assist you. But because nobody really knows their roles and their place on your team yet, you either have a team that's going to absolutely blow up the first race or not. Um, but regardless, it's going to be a lot of shifting and a lot of trying to figure out what's kind of happening. Don't beat yourself up on that. But if you happen to have help, like if you offer to a friend, hey, are you in for a weekend? If you have anybody that might want to come and join you, um, then that might be for like maybe your first race. That might be a good thing if you invite a parent along just for your first one. Um, and even if maybe if they start out that week and say, listen, like, for one day, at least it'll start getting you guys your feet wet, and then maybe you can kind of bump it off or something. And definitely bring your kids' favorite things to do for sure, you know, and that would be okay. But the first 3 are going to be a little chaotic.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, the next one here is just about so we bought Duckia most of her gear.
Mhm.
We were able to get online racing suit,
Mhm.
helmet.
Hmm.
You got
Gloves.
after 2 tries, we got gloves that fit. The first
Mhm.
gloves that we and to be clear, we like I take the measuring very seriously. We have like I measured everything and the gloves still didn't fit. So I was very frustrated with
Shocking that you take
that.
it seriously. It's amazing. I would never have guessed.
Yeah. But the one thing that like I'm just like not ready to we're not ready to pull trigger on without trying it on is the racing shoes.
Okay. You got the
Because
helmet though?
we helmet, you're happy with the helmet, right?
Yeah. That's
Put the Hans anchors on. I don't think we can return it now.
You probably could, but okay. Um, from where you are, there's only one place that's really drivable
Mhm.
that you can go try things on. But I would call them to make sure they have the sizes you're looking for. It doesn't help to be there and then say, "Oh, we don't have any of those."
Yeah.
Most of the places like Stable Energy is in North Jersey. Uh, OG Racing. There's a bunch of places you can go to. Most of them will ship you the shoe, especially since it's your first time. And if it's the right size, great. If it's not the right size, they'll make it work. So I wouldn't be I would have been more concerned about you trying on your helmet in person than your shoe. So as long as you have nice puffy cheeks and the helmet doesn't move around on your head, okay. But I think it's more luck than skill, by the way. But that's okay.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, she basically said it's slightly more tight than she was expecting. I was like, I think that's how it's supposed to be.
As long as it's not like hard clamping on your head. Like there was one brand of helmet, and I'm not saying it's a bad brand, and I'm not going to say what brand it is. It was short front to back for me, was fine side to side, but the shell itself front to back, I felt like somebody was like poking my head, and it wasn't Vicki just making fun of me. So that one wouldn't work. But the one brand that I did get that works very well for me, just it kind of had the right shape for my head, and it was tight, and it's you got the puffy cheeks, but it's the one I use, so it works well. Vicky uses a totally different brand of helmet because it doesn't fit her head, the ones that I like. So
Yeah, then for long hair, you just stuff it in the back of your suit. Is that what you do?
Um,
a couple ways.
well, yeah. Technically, you're supposed to wear a balaclava.
Which I do.
Yes,
Which you
technically
should.
you're supposed to. You really should. Um, I would say half do, half don't, maybe in lemons. But as you level up in the racing, you're probably going to be more required to wear a balaclava. And honestly, Chicklet, you should wear one because all your face oils and all of your, if you happen to have any kind of moisturizer or anything like that, are going to go into your helmet, and it's going to make your helmet pretty disgusting. So you'll
Mm.
probably want to wear one, and they're fireproof, and braid your hair, and that also kind of comes down and covers your hair.
Like a loose braid.
And I actually have not, and I'm getting ready to retire my first helmet. I'm moving into a much nicer helmet, and I just realized just how gross my helmet actually was after it, you know. Because you can get like mists and sprays, like refreshers for your helmet, but it doesn't fix that kind of stuff. And Bill should actually be wearing a balaclava, and probably you should too, because your whiskers will
Yeah.
shred the inside lining of your helmet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
that
have
would
one
be
for me
best
here.
to do. And you can actually make it like a little bun in the back of your neck. I don't know how Audra does hers. Um,
I try
because you're
and
going
do
to be
like a
wrestling.
ponytail. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be wrestling with your Hans device also. So that's going to kind of get up in there. So that's an option. But when you're at the regular track, you know, you can probably let it slide or something. Not
Try to keep it in your
like
suit
track
though.
day. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Yeah. Some people are, you know, Lemons is really lax about that, but the higher you go up, I think they get a little bit more strict on it.
Okay.
I think it's more comfortable for you too if you
Yeah.
can get it tucked in flat back there. I found like trying to do like a low bun or something
Yeah, sorry.
didn't work. Like it's very uncomfortable, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want is a basically a combustible fuse on the back of your head, you know. So try and keep it inside the suit.
I just had the worst image.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got garages and the condos for NJMP. NJMP reserves those online at some point. They may already be open. I don't know if they are, but it is an online event for NJMP. Now the problem is every single track has a different way of doing it. So sometimes you go through Lemons, sometimes you go through the track, sometimes you call the track, sometimes you do it online, sometimes, and then the date when it's available, it's a nightmare. But that's how that's done. And we'll talk about that one in the OnlyFans podcast after this. Uh, Fire extinguisher for pit stops. Yes, you need one. Could you use ours? Yes. That's fine. We're probably not going to have pit stops at the same time. Transponders, you can rent them from Lemons or buy one. Or if you knew somebody who had two extra ones, you know, maybe they would lend them to you. I don't know. Just a thought.
Do you have two extra ones?
Well, I know we lend one to Alan, so I know
Yes.
that we definitely have probably one because our car had one built in.
Right. So we have them.
Oh,
So
well,
we do.
yeah, I didn't hit that side of the car.
I know.
Don't you laugh at me. Good night.
That's great. That's great. I didn't hit that side of the car. That's great.
So there's a ton of stuff that we haven't talked about, and the website has like version 32 of my file. I'll update that on the website as well, but I'll send you, like I said before when we were talking, I'm up to version 80. So it just keeps growing, and there's multiple tabs, and each car has its own. It's ridiculous, but that's just the way I roll. So you'll probably adopt it because I know how you are. It's fine.
Awesome.
When we were starting our team, we downloaded all of their checklists and we used all of their checklists, and it was so helpful.
They are,
Kind of good about, you know, what they have available on their website.
you can filter through what works for you, but it's like the whole list. We should actually have an abbreviated starter list.
We do on the list. It's got listed as A category, B category, C category. A being you must bring this. I don't care. Or well, actually, I have 0, then A, B, C. 0 is something that you cannot race without. Like they will not let you on the track. And then A is stuff that we highly recommend. B is stuff that you probably should bring, and C is the nice to have. So it's categorized.
Yeah. Now, lodging. Have we talked about lodging yet?
We haven't. Yeah. So so the last times I've been to Lemons, I've at Jersey, I've actually camped there just found some grass and camped. That was
Hmm.
Okay.
pretty successful, weather dependent, right?
Right.
Yep.
Um,
Little ones make that tough though.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, good point.
Well,
Yeah.
we actually, I think for our kids, we actually purchased something like what Jeremy had, which was like the cabin. And it's like a tent cabin that was divided off into rooms. And it had like a light bar that goes around on the inside of LED lights, which was really kind of cool. We used that for a season for the kids. Um, but you can hop online and go through RV Share and Outdoorsy. And actually, if you look a little harder, you can come up with breakaways of people that started out on those programs and decide to start their own websites and their own rentals. And you can go ahead, which are usually cheaper, but because you don't have to pay all the overhead fees. But you can reserve, they're like little Airbnbs that they will deliver to you and pick up, and they'll come fully stocked. If you can request like a generator, always when you're doing that, even though the fee is posted, look to see what all the add-ins are. Much like an Airbnb, there's some overhead fees. And even though it says, oh, well, this is the price, but yeah, but they're going to charge like 250 flat rate for delivery, or they're going to charge like $5 a mile. And at that point, you get the one that's closest to wherever you are, obviously. And then
Right.
always check to see what's included. And mostly what you want is the linens included for when you're starting out. Just bring your own pillows, but usually they'll come fully stocked. And we just tell them that we bring all of our own gear. We're not even going to use, we need your trailer to sleep in. And that's it. We're not vacationing in it. We're not anything for anything. Um, but we have all of our own stuff. It's just, if you could help us out with linens and
Even
towels.
that, we're taking care of that now.
Right. And I know that Audra built theirs inside their car trailer. They have a setup in there.
And Bill and Larry firmly believe in hotels and will go no other route.
Yes, they prefer a hot shower and a yeah, and a comfortable bed.
They're high maintenance.
Drama queens.
Yeah.
I love those guys. So those are some options. I know that there's some extra. I think they're like if you happen to go out to Pittsburgh and Thompson, there are individuals out there that are running separate outside of the big national outdoorsy and RVs. But they're starting to pop up now as little gig side hustles. So depending on how much you want to spend and how comfortable you want to be and how comfortable if you bring in the kids, it'll be a nice place to kind of tuck them in, especially if there's a TV in there. They can you know, kind of get settled in and have a place to go, especially if it's air conditioned and stuff like that.
I mean, the only thing
Makes
that's going to
sense.
be tough is there's going to be limited Wi-Fi.
Yeah, depending on certain places, yeah. Some have them, some don't.
But the signal's never great.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. Did we miss anything, sir?
No, I think we hit it. I think we hit everything.
All
This
right.
is this is good. You give me a lot to think about here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got as you know our way. We don't mind helping, and
Mm-mm.
if you come up with something, let us know. And
Just bring your big basics and
you're
your
going to
big
miss stuff. I mean, there's no
absolutely. Don't beat yourself up over it.
yeah. So we're going to be ambassadoring for Pit Race for another team. We will do the same for you at NJMP,
Yep.
and pretty much I
We
can't say
actually really enjoy it. I
I
think
can't.
we get a bigger charge out of helping people more than racing, if that makes any sense. We really do.
I, I can't say that 100% we got you covered, but it's pretty high 99s.
Yeah.
And the stuff we don't have, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can't wait.
So
You'll be just fine.
just remember your goals are not to win the race.
Your goals are to have a good time. Just have fun.
for your first race. Just have a great time. Make sure everybody gets in the car. Ideally, everybody has a good time. Everybody gets to drive at least one stint, and the car goes home. Everything else is bonus.
Yeah.
So, if you got any more questions, let us know. If anybody listening has questions, let us know. We don't mind helping. We love helping.
Mm-hmm.
It's great fun. So, and in spite of everything that we always make fun of ourselves about, we actually do kind of know what we're doing. So, it's not so bad. So, Ryan, what do we got to do to get you to go to pit race now?
Pit race? I would love to go to pit race. You mean 2025? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does your lineup look like just in general for this year? Is you just going to hit
So
New Jersey?
So Jersey is primary point. When it was just me gonna race the car with whatever my ragtag guys, I said I was kind of thinking that I could get stuff together for a pit race. Um, Once Duckia said she wants to come on, I said nope, nope. We're gonna take it slow. We're gonna get some track time, some seat time, and we're gonna aim for Jersey, which is also the closest one to where I live. So I think we're committed to that. I think that's the way to do it. I absolutely will tow out to pit race for 2026. That is a priority because I love that track.
Excellent. Very good. Um, any other plans for the rest of the season, or is it a one season race?
Yeah, it's not how I intended it. There's a couple of conflicts I have, like for example, Thompson, which would be drivable, is I have a conflict on that, so I can't go do it. Loudon in New Hampshire is a possibility. I've never been there.
Hmm.
I was gonna do that in 2024, and then I broke my ankle and tore my ACL, and so I'm still kind of physical therapying from that. But so yeah, so I have not experienced that track. If I'm curious if you think it's worth the tow.
Some people it's their favorite track, some people hate it.
Fair enough.
It's
Kind of in the middle.
50-50.
Yeah.
Is it one of your favorites, Audra?
No, I like it, but it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it.
I kind of hate it.
It always just hits us at the wrong time of year because you're talking about New Hampshire because it hits us right around like Halloween.
It's Halloween, yeah.
And when you got kids, that's a tough one.
That's
And
a
it's
tough
No
one.
6
one's
hours
want to
away.
enjoy the Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 6 hours away. It's the end of the series, and you're pretty much beaten up.
You don't get a day off when you got kids. The kids got you're not getting in till like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, at night, and the kids got school the next morning, and the kids are traveling with you. So if you're doing it as a family, like we were, it's like this is just not working for us. This race is not working.
So,
Mhm.
But I find it to be pretty chill, compared to like New Jersey. It's like
well, I mean, you know,
wider, really fast.
Jersey's a wild one for you know our region's lemons.
Jersey then Thompson, yeah.
Hmm.
So,
So as it goes for us, it's pit is open season. Weather is completely unpredictable. You could have one weekend, you could have all the weather show up, all of it, as we did one year. Jersey is technically opening season for lemons racing. It's the craziest one, it's the wildest ones where everybody is on show for their themes. Um, then let me see, it would
Thompson.
be Thompson. Thompson is the brutal one because of the heat and the air doesn't move. And I think we've only hit it once when it was pleasant, and it could rain at any time usually. And then after that, we never made the South Carolina or the Carolina one, but that's the parade event down there. We haven't made that one. And then it's the Halloween one, which is a little bit more chill up in New
New Hampshire.
Hampshire. And that's kind of how that all rolls.
So
Cool.
just try to have a good time. I would recommend you follow one of our things, which is try to do a new race track every season, just because it's fun.
Yeah.
So, take a look, see what Summit Point is. That's pretty close to where you're at.
Is that Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good point. I will be driving it with Tweed Motorsport
I happen to
this
know
year.
them a little bit.
I know
Yes.
Tweed very
Yeah.
well.
We have a
So
hat.
yeah, I I have a hat. Yeah. So the I guess I think that's the debut of the Sebring car for
Hmm.
him. So I've been tapped to drive the Sebring. So we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. Well, that could be fun. If you do have anything that you need help with in Champ or whatever, we don't care. You know, you're adopted, so let us know.
Awesome. Good to be adopted.
No worries. You feel a little better about your upcoming race, my dear?
Oh yeah.
All right, very well.
You'll be fine.
Just got to get some shoes now.
Oh yeah. But all those tips and advices, all the information learned tonight is super helpful. And I think most importantly is like mentally bring me like comfortable, like to get started.
Hmm.
So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Anytime.
Just relax and have a good time. That's all. Just drive like you're on the freeway. That's
Um,
what it's like, a wild freeway
maybe
around New York.
maybe a little better than that, but that's a different story.
Well, the New Jersey one.
Like I said, maybe a little better than that, but that's okay. All right. Well, it sounds like a plan. I think whatever you need, let us know. It'll be quite fun.
All right. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
help.
No
We're
worries.
so pleased.
Problem.
Appreciate that.
Cannot wait to see you guys get out there. That'll be so much fun.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see
You
you in a
guys
few
will be
months.
just fine. I mean, Ryan's done this several times already. He's chill. No, actually, he's not chill. He's a little boy when he's out there. He looks like a freaking 7-year-old that has just gone down a hill in a wagon.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Hopefully, some
Yes.
people learned a little bit about what to do.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Anytime.
And anybody out there is more than welcome to visit our website to look at the any kind of documents or downloads that we have for sheets to help you with your race weekends. More than welcome. Go ahead and help yourself.
I'm updating them as we speak, so they'll be up on the website soon. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you too. Have a good weekend.